should wear a cape because he's clearly a superhero,
It's
given
amazing.
his feats of brain and brawn. I mean, this is a man who wasn't just the youngest black professor in history. He was a mute till the age of 11, illiterate till the age of 18, then, of course, got his PhD, claims to have been a visiting professor at Glasgow University and Ohio State University in America and another university, all of whom have no record of him being a visiting professor. He claims to have been sent abroad by a charity that never sends people abroad. He claims to have appeared in a famous documentary series for which the basic requirement is to have been alive.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Julian Discourse. Before we dive in, please make sure to like and subscribe. Ever catch someone in a lie so ridiculously obvious, you almost feel embarrassed for them? Now imagine that person is a highly celebrated Cambridge University professor. Watch Julia Hartley-Brewer and Rafe Heydel-Mankoo completely dismantle the fabricated resume of an academic who made impossible claims, including holding professorships at universities that have literally never heard of him. But the real scandal isn't just the fraud. It's how the woke establishment panicked, circled the wagons, and even tried to send the police after the journalists who simply asked questions. Watch this.
I tell you where we've not seen any common sense lately, and that is at Cambridge University with the appointment of the Professor Jason Arday, the youngest black professor at Cambridge Cambridge University. What's extraordinary, though, is it does appear that pretty much his entire CV and pretty much every other claim he's made about his life is, for legal reasons, should we say, unverifiable and unverified. And certainly we've now got three different education institutions where he's claimed that he has some sort of qualification from or some sort of standing appointment, saying absolutely not, they've never even heard of him. And now we've got the latest revelation about this man, which is that police investigated a journalist, sent a police officer to a journalist who was trying to expose a plagiarism row involving Jason Arday. And Jack Grove, a reporter for Times Higher Education, was accused of harassment after he emailed questions to the professor about his academic record. An extraordinary state of affairs. No charges were ever brought, but the fact that any police officer was sent to or even contacted this man, frankly, should be a sacking offence. Let's talk about all of this with Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, Julia. What a story.
I have to say, I started reading the story last week and I was going, well, this sounds an interesting character. Plagiarism row, and a lot of reminiscent of the Harvard president. But actually, I mean, I'm sure you know all the details. Give us just a brief summary of all of the things that this incredibly impressive young man has apparently done in his life, both academically and his athletic achievements as well.
Well, Jason Arday should wear a cape because he's clearly a superhero,
It's
given
amazing.
his feats of brain and brawn. I mean, this is a man who wasn't just the youngest black professor in history. He was a mute till the age of 11, illiterate till the age of 18, then, of course, got his PhD, claims to have been a visiting professor at Glasgow University and Ohio State University in America and another university, all of whom have no record of him being a visiting professor. He claims to have been sent abroad by a charity that never sends people abroad. He claims to have appeared in a famous documentary series for which the basic requirement is to have been alive 20 years before he was actually born. He claims to have run 600 miles in 6 days originally, later extended to 12 days, something which would put him in the elite rank
for
of
charity.
runners. For charity, for whom he raised £5 million on his own originally.
That was for the 30 marathons in 35 days.
Yes, for 30 marathons in 35 days. And on the side, he was a semi-professional football player. I mean, I think they need to make a film about this guy's life. You know, it should rank alongside Forrest Gump and being
Absolutely.
there.
Well, I mean, you missed out. You missed out. Now, this is the glorious thing that he got his PhD despite 2 weeks before having to do his oral exam, his viva, for this PhD, which he got, as you said, after being illiterate until the age of 18, and he got it 2 weeks after having surgery for a brain tumour. which led him to forget his entire PhD work, and he had to basically learn it again within 2 weeks. This man is truly a medical, athletic...
Loaded the DEI is, for the nonsense that it really is, and it sent the humanities departments reeling because it's really exposed the ludicrousness of these faith-based theories that people study. Critical race theory was his, but you can put in gender ideology where you can teach it without having any noticeable skill or talent at all. And, you know, and what's curious, though, is that without checking whether his claims were true, all of the great and good have decided to risk their reputations by supporting him. And they've circled the wagons around him. You know, people like James O'Brien and LBC, Krishna Guru Murthy, people who are, you know, naturally skeptical journalists who are used to smelling things when they're fishy. But here they were like sort of train spotters when they see the Flying Scotsman. You know, this was a virtue signaling version of the Flying Scotsman. He ticked every box: race, poverty, illiterate,
disability,
neurodivergent. So they couldn't let him go down. They had to essentially circle around him because he was their sacred totem. And Cambridge University has refused, even though it has a zero tolerance on plagiarism, it's refusing to examine this, saying it's up to Liverpool University to do that. If this was a white professor, you can bet your bottom dollar they would be investigated.
Just lying to get a job. But what's even more sinister is Scotland Yard basically investigating a journalist who was quite legitimately, as a reporter of the Times Higher Education magazine, asking questions and sending emails to this professor, and these emails are always publicly available on universities' websites. Can you, these claims have been made about you. Can you please verify? And being told he was harassing someone who was having mental health problems. That's an absolute outrage.
Yes, up to this point, it's been quite amusing, in a sense of schadenfreude, to see these woke universities and the woke establishment embarrassed and humiliated for supporting him. But my gosh, I was flabbergasted when I saw this, that the police are now investigating the fourth estate. You know, journalism is one of the great institutions. The free press is vital. And of course, of all the publications in this country, is there anything that's more bland and politically correct than Times Higher Education? This is not the Daily Mail, the Daily Star we're talking about. And their job is to investigate educational issues. And there is nothing wrong with asking questions. And then Jason Arday himself employed Carter Ruck, the bulldogs of the libel world.
Very expensive as well, I understand.
But there's another question here, which I think is even bigger.
Well, you're going to have to be very quick. I mean, I've got 10 seconds left.
How many other Jason Ardays are out there? People who aren't as blatant, but the DEI hires who are doctors, lawyers, engineers.
Exactly. Very, very good point. Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Very quick response from Benedict.
Point, I think if people understood how much fraud there goes on in academia, they would not send their children to university.
There is that.
Welcome back to reality. Imagine applying for a regular, everyday job and blatantly lying on your resume. You wouldn't just be fired, you'd be laughed out of the building. But what happens when the elite academic establishment gets caught doing the exact same thing? They circle the wagons, play the victim, and even try to send the police after the people asking questions. What you just watched is not a standard academic debate. It is the real-time exposure of an institutional establishment that will completely abandon the truth rather than admit its progressive ideology has failed. In 2023, Cambridge University appointed Jason Arday as a sociology professor, parading him across the media as the ultimate diversity success story. But when journalists simply started checking his credentials, the narrative completely collapsed. The public record revealed a staggering level of fabrication. Arday claimed he ran 30 marathons in 35 days, 9 of them supposedly with a broken leg. He claimed to hold prestigious visiting professorships at Ohio State University and the University of Glasgow, which both institutions confirmed were completely fake. He even claimed to have published a book that the publisher confirmed never existed. Finally, independent analysis of his 2015 PhD thesis found over 100 plagiarized passages. Faced with this undeniable proof, Arday officially resigned from Cambridge on August 5, 2026. But watch how Professor Kahinda Andrews and the academic left react in that clip. Confronted with hard evidence of resume fraud, They do not apologize or defend academic integrity. Instead, they panic, play the victim, and immediately hide behind weaponized identity politics. This exchange matters because it exposes a profound institutional failure. Universities are supposed to be the guardians of objective truth and rigorous standards. Instead, this scandal proves they have become so deeply infected by diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates that they will deliberately bypass basic scrutiny just to protect a preferred political narrative. They are protecting a failing ideology, and the public can see right through it.